Today, we are finally moving beyond the border of our old town and starting to turn this place into an actual city. We've got a lot of empty land to work with, and I think it's about time that we start filling some of it. After the last episode, I asked you guys what we should focus on for today's episode, public transport or expanding our residential area further, and honestly, your answer made perfect sense. We can't really have public transport before we have a city to put it in. So with that in mind, we're going to be focusing on exactly that today. We're headed north out of the old town, expanding our residential area and starting the transition from our historic city center into a more modern area of the city. And also later in the video, we're going to be getting one step closer to finally getting a name for this city itself, as I've managed to narrow it down to just 4 options, and I want you guys to help me decide on which one of the 4 it should be. So you know what? Let's not waste any more time. I'm Toby. Welcome or welcome back to Build with Toby. Now let's get on with it. We're going to be developing up into here. I know that I've been saying that I'm going to do the bus or the train station down here, which I will. That's been the bait all along, I suppose, for any train enthusiasts out there. But I simply think, because I have a lot of plans with the whole train situation that I want to get done, and I don't want to, kind of squeeze that into an episode where I'm doing something else up here. I would much rather have a dedicated public transport episode. So I think, do I dare promising things? I don't know if I do, but I think the plan is going to be that we do up here today, and then in the next episode, we do train station, we do everything. And speaking of trains, wait a minute. Why are these trains not moving? Oh no. Oh no. What is going on here? What is this? We have a situation that needs fixing. Why are they all coming out on a single track? I said we weren't doing public transport today, but you know what? Let's... we have a complete lockdown of the trains. I think, they're all stuck. We need to help the trains real quick. Do we even have... No, we don't. You know what? Let me just real quickly hop in here, get trains. We might as well get trains while we're at it. And you know what? We'll take the parks too, because we're going to be doing... Those we're actually going to be working on today. But let's just really quickly save our train situation, and then we'll get into the actual episode. I think what we can do... Let me just see here. I think what we can do... We delete you. That already helped a bit, but let's just double track everything. I don't see why we shouldn't be able to just do that. We do this... Mark it there, hold down left click, then we go all the way to the end, and then we plop you down. Now everything is double tracked. Nice. Then we do the same thing here. And then let's just try and speed up real quick and see if this helps anything. Are trains moving now? Well, one train is. Okay, there we go. They are starting to move. It seems like it's just going to take a second for all of this to get smoothed out. But yeah, they are all, in fact, moving now. Nice. Great. Solved. Now we go back to what this episode was actually about. So now that we have our old town finished, one thing that I've been, I don't say struggled with, but try to figure out is how do you transition smoothly from an old town where all the buildings are very congested, there's just, mishmash of buildings all over the place, into our next part of the city, and then potentially out into a suburban area as well, further out on the edge of the city. Because obviously, we're building a big city, but it's not really to scale with a proper capital city, because that would simply just take up too much space. So how do you transition out of an area like this? And I've done the smart thing, I've done the wise thing, take inspiration from the real world and hopped over on Google Maps. Here we are in Copenhagen, in the very heart of the city. Here's the Parliament building and all. And here you see, effectively what we've built so far, the very dense old town with buildings galore, similar in structure, a lot of different buildings and all that to what we have already. And as I fly out of the city, two things that I've seen that works is, of course, parks. They're very natural dividers and opening up for new things to do. But also, as we cross over the water here and we go into, I mean, obviously, Copenhagen as a city started in the heart of the city in downtown and here. But then as it expanded over the years, look at how the building structure changed. We went from very dense courtyards and everything being very, very tight together to now almost everywhere you see. I mean, these buildings are probably from early 1900, I would imagine. We started opening up the courtyards. Courtyards are open all over the place. So instead of having all these dense mishmash buildings on top of one another, the courtyards have now effectively been opened up all over. And I think that's what we're going to try and aim to do in today's episode. They even have a pool down here. How lucky are they? I mean, you see this everywhere, not just in Copenhagen, but in other cities too, in the Nordics, that will be the transition point that then opens up for your low density and single family residential areas. So I feel like that's a pretty good transition point, and I think that's what we're gonna try and do. Then of course you have more of the high density housing and stuff. We'll be building that as well. But I think today we're gonna be focusing on getting down some of these, let's call them transition apartment buildings. Because I don't have a better name for it. I don't know if they have a formal name, this type of structure, but early 1900 city expansion stuff that will then lead into the other residential area that we're going to be doing further north. But first, let's do a road layout. And I don't want to have it be fully, 90 degrees all over and gridded to the teeth, because if you look at the footage or if you go on Google Maps and check out some of the Nordic cities yourself and see these type structures, they're never really full grids. They always have bends. They always have broken angles that aren't just 90 degrees all over. So I think we're going to try and do something similar, like a more organic road layout in the structure. And I think that's gonna work out really well. So I'm gonna do the road layout, and then I will see you on the other side. So in order to get the type buildings that we want, I don't feel like it's going to be too complicated. You put down these corner pieces. Of course, you're going to use Flexit to adjust the angle of them. Of course, make sure that they're all the same one, because they would all be the exact same, or at least close to the same building. We adjust them a little bit, as you can see here. And then we plop down straight pieces that would match in height as well as style, which just makes things so easy. Obviously, when you zoom in real close, it's not necessarily going to look too good because there's going to be a lot of overlapping. But if you can line up the windows with one another, maybe put them over top of one another, it should be okay once everything is done. As you can see here, a little bit of an overlap. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you're going to be noticing too much. But this is going to be the process that I'm going to be doing for, well, effectively this entire block. So let's speed things up a bit, because again, it's very repetitive. And since you now understand this system, the format of how to do it, I feel like all this nitty gritty, just angling everything and making sure that they're perfectly lined up, you don't have to watch all of it. If you want, let me know. I'll send you the raw footage, but that is 50 minutes that I am instead now gonna cut down into this. Overall, I think this is a really, really nice view. It's very, very Northern European city center-esque. So this is like, early 1900 working class expansions of the cities they would have developed into areas like this. And I think it makes for a very smooth transition out of downtown into what will maybe be a lower residential area or something up here. So these type buildings, I think, are definitely something that is nice to have. And also, as long as you don't mind the buildings overlapping a wee bit with one another, I think they're very easy. Like, it's a very easy type of building to create with a little bit of modding here and there. Now what we do next is that I really want, and I mentioned this in the previous episode, I think it could be so cool to have a football stadium here. Obviously, this is not a gigantic city, and oh my lord, this is a lot bigger than I thought. It's not a gigantic city. Oh, does this actually mean... Wait. You know what we do? Let's do some resizing real quick. There we are. A couple of readjustments later, we've come up with a result. And what I want to do really quickly, actually, now that I think about it, is that these these apartment buildings, definitely will need some parking. So I think what we'll do is that we'll make this one-way streets. Because normally, at least in Copenhagen, they have a lot of one-way streets in these type areas. So we'll do a little bit of a circle there. We'll do... this being a one-way street, and no, you know what? I think that's fine. I think this is okay. And then, of course, what we'll do as well is that we will hop on in. We will grassify all of this to make it as beautiful as can be. Can we do it on that side when there's parking? No, that's okay. Perfect. And then what we'll do down here is that we will extend this area by a bit at least, because this obviously doesn't look overly exciting. Pillow T. That is not going to be the name of our football team. I know that there's a way that you can change all of these. I've seen that in other people's videos. I am not at all proficient in doing those sort of things, but if you know how, let me know. It could be kind of cool if we could have a unique team name for whenever we have finalized our city name. There we go. We now have ourselves a football field. I like it. We are going to do a bit more with detailing. We're going to put up some tents, put up some food stalls and whatnot for people to come in and enjoy. But I think this fits pretty nice within this area. We're also going to go ahead and place some big old trees down here. We have that face over there, so there's a little bit of extra parking for anyone wanting to go watch the games. Then what I'm wanting to do over here is that we will plop down, and what should we search for? I guess remove German. I guess it's just football. Yes, perfect, because we have these fields, and I'm thinking that in a... wait, also, let's just flatten this out real quick so the decals shine through better. We'll just make sure everything is even. Oh, it already is. Nice. Next to big stadiums, or big, this is not that big, but you know, next to football stadiums, there usually, not always, but usually are practice facilities, either for the team or for like an academy team or something of the sort. So I'm thinking that we place down an academy pitch, which takes a little bit of fiddling to make work. Something like that. Let's do 2 of them with a little bit of space in between. There we go. And then what we can do is I've downloaded these barriered concrete fences because I have them in a triple fenced barrier. They're kind of tall. I'm just thinking behind a football field, you want to have something to protect so that the balls don't all fly out on the street. We could go for the golf nets, but I think they're too tall. So I think this is what we're going to do. We'll do this. We'll put them on a line fence style. Distance between them is going to be small. That's still too much. Is that too little? Something like this. Then there we are. I think this is nice. Then we can remove 1 or 2 of them here in the middle so that there is a way for people to get in. That would be nice. And then I have, let me just scoot this down a little bit. Maybe something like that. Something like this. Then, of course, what is football without goals? We'll do the big goals of this as well. Make sure they're turned the right direction. And then I also have these big stadium lights, which I'm gonna plop in the corners. We'll do a little parking area there as well, because then what we can do is... There we go. Now we have the training facility over here. Since this is a practice field, we might as well add some practice dummies. I guess they would be in and around the goal line. Not angled like that though. We'll just plop them down instead. Something like this. We'll have things for them to jump over, because why not? And we'll do some cones. Because if you've ever done sports, you've probably done something with cones before. Then, of course, we should have sidelines for these people to sit. Nice. Do they come with flags? No, they don't. So maybe we use a golf flag for the corner posts. We'll just accept the fact that the wind is blowing in all different directions at the same time. Lastly, just for good measure, grass surface 2. Let's do this. I think this is really gonna make it look better. This is fantastic. Now that is a practice facility if I've seen one. Maybe we add a shed down in the bottom, just because that could be where they will have all their practice thingamabobs. They have all their utility and different things. There you go. All the extra balls, all the good stuff. I think this is pretty nice for a practice facility. They have some cones. They have some, you can barely even see them. Cones, thingies, those things. Amazing. This is a football field, as far as I can tell. Then what do we do around here? Now we've just added a lot more of this. And as far as I can tell, we do need a high school. Do we? Wait, do we even have a high school? No. We do not. We have 1,400 people that are eligible for it, but 0 high schools. You know what? That tells me that we should probably build one. And I think we should look to this area up here, because now that we've expanded into this area, how about if we develop it a bit further with a school as well? Can we do this one? Does that fit here? Almost. Maybe we turn it the other way. Just put it down like this. Oh, maybe it should actually face the main road. That makes more sense. There we go. Scoot you down a bit. Do you come with any cool extensions? It does. A rooftop park. Yeah, why not? And then we will add some parking behind here as well. There we go. And then on the ends here, I'm kind of thinking it could... Wait, what is wrong with you? There we go. At the ends here, I'm kind of thinking that it could be nice to build some more mainstream, whether it be offices or commercial, because we do have a demand for both. I'm kind of thinking it could be a nice transition to build something more modern. Maybe just for the sake of there being a football field and whatnot, we could also throw in some parking. Can we fit that in here, or is it too big? No, it's a bit too... You know what, actually, what if we do this? 1, 2, then we take U road, scoop you down a bit. There we go. I think this is nice. This is a good transition point. Then it could have been real smart if we just had the fence go all the way up there, but we did not think that far. What we can do instead is that we can have a little bit of a road, a pedestrian road come off here, and then come around the back there. Line you up a little better. There we go. And then we will add some commercial. I guess they just look a lot better when you can do them in 4. But then we have hotels and all that stuff. Yeah. Then we just have to... You know what we'll do this. Move it. Remove everything that is roads. Now we can squeeze in the force. Nice. Took a little bit of adjusting, but it worked out in the end. Do we want hotels? Oh, that's a very big hotel. Maybe not that big. But something to transition into bigger commercial. I think it would make sense to have around here. And then over here, maybe we add a hotel. Since we are close to a football field after all, it could be, I guess, kind of cool with a hotel. Having a hotel right next to the school, I don't know how much sense that makes when you think about it, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's actually okay. Do we have a 4x4 park? We do. We'll toss that down here. Why is it that this football field gets targeted by everything that I move that is miles away from it? This doesn't make any sense. There we go. I think this is a very nice transition out of the downtown area. We have a football field, we have a practice facility over there, we have a high school, and I guess the kids in the high school over here can go over and, you know, play during recess and whatnot. Whenever they have time, they can hop on over, go kick some ball. and then have a good time. Then we have a bit of modern development in terms of offices and whatnot. They can sit and watch the football field. And then we have a ton of housing as well. I think this really has turned out nicely. Yes, we have a lot of these that I'm thinking we could place down in and around here to kind of showcase that this is where maybe you buy merchandise. There's always these open areas outside stadiums, I feel like, where you can buy various things. I have the same thing down here. Are we even putting anything on there? I don't think we will. This is more just for chilling. There we go. And then we will do some invisible footpaths. There we go. We now have a beautiful area here, which I'm actually very, very pleased with. Then we can take our trees that we've put down here already. Add them here. I think that would make sense. Lastly, let's do something with the centers in here. And then, I guess, as inspiration from that place in Copenhagen where they had a pool in the middle of all of it, we'll add a small swimming pool here as well. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure at all what to do when it came to detailing the courtyards for all these for all these apartment buildings. So we ended up with a lake here, or lake, a little pond. Playground there. I mean, again, we're not overly detailing this. Could we do more with it? Yes, we could spend time sitting and literally doing a lot of low trimmed hedges here and going everywhere. But at the same time, no, it's not this type of city. It does look nice when you do spend 40 hours on every single little bit, but I also want to build a big city. I don't want to build just a teeny tiny place and develop it like that. But here we have it. I think this is pretty nice. It's a nice, again, I mean, I feel like the transition out of the very intricate, complex downtown here into this bit is very natural, and then from here we can develop further into maybe a high residential area here, maybe a combination of high residential and lower residential area here, kind of built all the way up to what will be a highway. Oh wow, yeah, we're definitely doing some traffic management and public transport soon. Already now, I think what we can quickly do is get ourselves some roundabouts. You know what? We might as well get all these while we're at it. For starters, we'll convert you into a gigantic roundabout. Maybe that helps a little bit. We'll see down the line. But again, we haven't looked at this at all. Also, I'm not sure what in the world this road is doing, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But before we go any further in the video, we need to address the elephant in the room. Our city still doesn't have a name. And that's despite the fact that you guys have been incredible when it comes to bringing suggestions to the table with what it should be called. Because you guys have been, my oh my, so incredibly good at coming up with funny ideas and explaining why they're called what they were. I like to think that the challenge that I put on you to come with a city name the way that I did in the previous video was quite challenging. But you guys have really come up with some good suggestions. So what I've done is that I've created a community poll where you guys can go in and vote between the 4 remaining picks. And now I could just select the 4 cities that you have to choose between, but I figured that being a person that works full-time in esports, I like tournament formats, and so I went a little overboard. I made a full bracket system, single elimination style, that you can see here, where I battled all the different city names against one another to come up with the final 4. And well, I did record the whole process for me doing this, but it was a 35-minute thing, and I figured that is simply not, well, Cities Skylines related enough to actually have in the video. So I didn't upload it. Maybe down the line, if you guys are wanting to see how I talk over, you know, deciding all of this, then by all means, I'll upload it. But for now, I don't think it's really worth it. So what you can see here is that you can see exactly what transpired as the tournament went on. And we now have the 4 city names left available: Östrand, Falkenborg, Margrethenburg, and Vesterfeldsør. Now I did the, I allowed myself to remove the Sør in the end. So it's just Vesterfeld, but nevertheless, I like all these 4 names. Honestly, I like a lot of these names, but you can only have one in the end of it, and we had to narrow it down. So this, I thought, was the most fair way of showing respect to all the time that you guys have put into coming up with names. I felt like I also had to be respectful in how I went on selecting it, not just, you know, rolling a die and getting one at random. So this was the process, and here we have them, the 4 names there. Hop on into the community post and make sure to vote in the poll, and then by the next video we will have an official name for the city. Which one it's going to be? Well, that's for you guys to decide. So with that all out of the way, now let's get back into the video. Looking back at the areas we've built already, there are some areas that I haven't quite touched up. Up here, for example, is one where I am... You know what I think I want to do? I hadn't actually kind of finished my thought, but now that I think of it, we have this cute little church. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So I think what we do is we do this. Then we take a teeny tiny road coming off here. Actually, no, it's gonna come off here going here. Alleyway coming up there. You centered on the alleyway. And then we take 2 small parking lots. Perfect. And then we mega quickly detail you. There we go. I think this church turned out pretty nicely. Again, it's just a small one, but I feel like it does make sense that you have some sort of a church next to a cemetery. And since it's not bigger, I feel like it fits in pretty well with the whole thing. Now we have three spires of churches. I think it's nice. Secondly, we're gonna add a little bit of a playground down here. So let's do that real quick. Small playground. This should be a pretty quick setup. There we go. And then for here, we will do a small parking lot. And I'm thinking, I don't necessarily need it to be functional, but I think what we can do... we'll run around the backside. One coming through here, but you can walk out. And then here we'll do something like this. Not that we really need this, but now we have it anyway. Great. There we go. I think that works pretty well. Over here, we have never finished this area, which I also don't think we will now. What we can do, though, just for a quick measure, is, you know what, we'll take... finish this now. If we take a look at this, there aren't a whole lot of things we never finished. There's the back alley there, but I think some of them could just have grass. I think that's all right. You say you're not gonna spend time on something, but then you see a little thing and you're like, nope, I have to fix it. There you go. You see, it didn't take long. We fixed it. Ah, hurry, look away. All the other minor details that we haven't done. But I think this is good. I think this is nice for our Old Town fix. We filled out the small holes that were there. I also have another thought. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like we need another town square. I mean, we have this one down here. But maybe up and around here we could do something. Maybe it's too close to the other one. I'm not sure. But I already don't really like these buildings anyway. So you know what? We're going to do this real quick. There we go. I think this makes more sense, honestly, than just having the extra buildings there. We really could be doing all these freaking decals all day long, but we won't. I think this is nice. Is this centered? I think it is. Could be micro adjusted 15 times, probably yes. But I think this is nice. We've added another town, or another square in the park, and we have finished up this, and we have made this area, which I actually really do like. Again, I mean, we had to expand into something modern at one point or another. I don't know if I like this very bright red, so we're gonna have it be a little more chill in the color scheme. Actually, you know what? Maybe we just take you and have you both match. That's nice. Or can we somehow make it look like it's part of the high school? Nah, it takes the blue from the roof instead. But maybe the blue isn't bad. I like it being a little bit more chill in the colors than being overly crazy. We have double parking lot down here, path crossing over. People can go watch sports Again, I don't know exactly how you change these into something else, but we'll get to that at some point. And now that I look at this, I'm looking at the area down here by the, it's not really a river, by the stream, I suppose you would call it. And I'm not quite sure what to do here. Do we add one more building? Maybe since this is a big road, we could add a gas station, actually, now that I look at it. You know what? I think we'll do that. I think this one fits really well. You know what? I think this is what we're going with. It's something that you see all over. And yeah, I think it's nice. Then we will just take some of these textures and make sure that they, oh, not textures, these decals, and make sure that they line up all the way to the road. We cannot overlap the road, but that's okay. And I think that's nice. We got a little gas station in the corner. It's out on the main street proper, so people can go in and they can get their gas filled up for whatever trip they're about to embark on. I don't know if I like the pavement being this bright, so maybe we hop in and change it to something darker. Can we do this? If we do that and this, yeah, I think that's a bit of it. Ooh, and then maybe, I'm actually not even sure where they drive in. Okay, let me just see. If we go in here, we go invisible paths. Can't we then see all the other ones if we select one? We can. Okay, so they can actually come in and out in all 4 places. That is really, really nice. Because what we can then do is we can go in under our decals and we can then, where do we have it? We have it here. Is it? Whoops. That's very tiny. This, can we not overlap it on the road? We can, but it's not exactly the same color. But if we do something like this, I just feel like it makes it look a little better. Makes it look like there's actually a connection point on the sides. What we can then also add would be some arrows. The issue is it can't be added. It can only be in here, which is a little annoying. I wish you could add it on top of here, but I guess it goes underneath because you can add it on the sidewalk, but it's like down prioritized to the pavement, which is a little annoying because obviously you want these indicators on top of the pavement, but that doesn't work. So you know what? Maybe I'll refrain. Maybe I'll wait with adding these until maybe some of you guys tell me how you can get them up on top, because I'm not entirely sure. We'll wait. We'll wait there for a moment until I hear from one of you exactly how you're able to do that. But I think this is a nice fit. Again, we're working our way out on the main street here, and the little gas station is going to be helpful. There is a world where we put it over on the other side of the road eventually, but I think for now this down here is going to be okay. We could just convert this into a small park with some paths here and there, like not an actual park, more just, I mean, I guess it would be a park, but just some foresty looking paths here down by the water, and kind of preserve this so the wildlife have somewhere to rest before. I mean, it's not like there's that long from here down to the ocean, but you know what I mean. A little bit of a nice foresty area here could be nice for people, I suppose. But I think, honestly, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. I know we didn't build a ton, and this video is gonna be a bit shorter than the other 2 have been, but I really like where this is. I feel like this is a pretty good stop before we break into this northern area. My plan with this is that, as I said earlier in the video, and it kind of came as an idea, but now I'm actually really liking it, is that we build some higher residential area on one side, some lower residential, like single family homes over here, and then maybe, just because we have the water and all down here, we could have some nice, like, more expensive homes that are kind of overlooking the water over and around here. I think that could be kind of cool. We'll see what ends up happening. But high residential, low residential, or density, I guess. High density, low density, rich people. And then, of course, I promise you, guys, this is a promise. Next episode, we are doing the train station. I know I've been saying it, but this time around, I mean it. Next episode, we are doing the train station. It's going to be down here, and hopefully, hopefully it's going to be nice. I'm not an expert on anything public transport related, but I think it's going to be good. We have to fix or figure out how all these train tracks come along, but we'll get it all sorted. And then I think when we do the train station, it's also naturally going to allow for us to maybe expand a bit further over here, because we will need a rail yard. And then maybe we'll take a look at making our industrial area a little bit nicer, because this so far is, I don't know, it's kind of vanilla looking. We haven't really given much thought or much love compared to what we've built up here. But I'm really liking what we have here. I hope you are as well. If you enjoyed this episode, if you stuck all the way through to the end, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Secondly, it will mean the world if you haven't already that you drop a subscribe, because I am trying to grow the channel. And yeah, every subscription goes a long way. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode, and I will see you in the next one.